front of a large field of flowers, a pair of weary adventurers, and you lay down amongst the blooms, and suddenly, all at once, they rise up and shoot a cloud of pollen into the air.
Gross.
Roll a Constitution saving throw.
22.
12.
You both fail because the saving throw is infinity, and your allergies are just not happy about it. You sneeze through an entire podcast that you record, and you apologize to people. Welcome to Threshold Sunlight, our D&D 5e podcast. My name is Matt, and I'll be your dungeon master for this adventure.
My name is Tom, and I'll be playing Octavius Sabellum, the half-elf, maybe, cleric, maybe.
Cleric, maybe.
My name is Mitch, and I'll be playing Amere Filbert, the human bard.
Who's dropping fat beats left and right all day.
Oh, must be nice. I know my race. I know my class. Yeah.
These are character choices that you have made. Live with your decisions.
I live and die with them.
The audience is confused as well, so, they're right there with us.
Tom lives in uncertainty.
So last time, we very hastily introduced you all to the city of Kuru. I left out some important things just in my haste, just because we were running very, very late. Some important things to note. I did mention that you saw some gnomes. There are a few gnomes in the city, the king, the messenger, and you've never seen such creatures before. So that's an important thing to be aware of. Aside from that, it's a fairly normal city, as normal as you'd expect for one so isolated. We're going to jump right back into it where we left you guys at the Sandstone Guild outpost, guild hall, whatever it is, in the middle of the city of Kuru. You're standing in this sort of lobby area, and in front of you is the King Tanstanturin, who has introduced himself as such, and another man who has probably at this point introduced himself as Guildmaster Aman Al-Ra, head of the Sandstone Guild.
Oh, which one is a gnome?
The gnome is the King Tanstanturin.
With the cool crown?
He does, yeah, the crown that's got musical instruments and whatnot inlaid into it.
Let's kill him and become king.
That is not how it works.
I've seen Game of Thrones, I'm pretty sure.
I've seen Futurama.
Either you win or you die. Spoiler alert, the two of you would die. It's because you're likable. That's why you would be killed.
Yeah.
I am actually related to George R.R. Martin, and it's part of our birthright to murder everyone who is likable. Anyway.
Are we resuming right then?
Yeah.
In the lobby talking to him? Okay.
Yeah, he's just said thank you for help responding to our summons. We really, really need your help. You guys are super great for coming here. But he said it in like a kingly voice.
Yeah. And Octavius will be like, yes, while we normally stay in our hut during our travels, I assume an organization such as yourself has fine lodging for heroes such as ourselves.
And the king actually turns to the side and gestures to Aman Al-Ra, who steps forward and says, yes, of course, we will make sure to properly accommodate you and outfit you with whatever you may need in order to fulfill your contract with us. Is there any equipment that we may procure for you in order to aid with your adventuring?
And Octavius pulls out like a scroll. He's like, I'm glad you asked. I require a nicer mace, a nicer bow. If you have any pearls of power, that would be very very beneficial. Some dragon tongue, some different potion ingredients, maybe some acid, alchemist's fire, some ruby dust. I need a pretty sizable amount of ruby dust, and just any artifacts you have lying around. I'd love to take a look at.
Yes. He reaches out and takes the scroll from you. Do you give it to him?
Yeah, and the scroll has like 50 things listed on it, and some of them are just like the fabled oath bow artifact, and like things just like you would just not like a scroll of a magnificent mansion spell, like things that are incredibly rare.
He peers down the list of things, glances over, over top of it at you, sort of sidelong, and sort of unceremoniously hands off the scroll to one of his. You assume it's an underling or something who's standing in the shadows over off to the side, and it nods to them. The underling reads the list and looks really panicked, and then starts running. He just runs off into the back. And at this point, Aman Al-Ra will turn to... I don't know why I keep saying his first and last name. I don't know. It feels weird.
He's a king. You have to, or he'll kill you.
He's a centurion. What are you talking about?
Oh, he's a not king. See,
he's a guild master.
He's the guild master. He's human?
Yes, this is a human man who is very well dressed. He's going to turn actually to you, Amere. He's going to be looking for your. He looks you over once. Does he see your musical instrument and whatnot?
Yeah, it's on my back.
It's not hidden or anything?
No.
Upon seeing this, his demeanor changes entirely, and he sort of becomes very gracious, and he looks to you and says, And you, Master Bard, is there anything that we may do to aid with your musical endeavors?
Yes, there's quite a few musical instruments that you have in this town. I would be gracious if I could procure some of them.
Yes, of course. I'm sure that the college would be more than willing to donate whatever it is that you need.
And also,
what instruments would be most beneficial? Never mind. We'll have to bring one of everything.
And during my travels, I do run into quite a spot of trouble, especially with this one. Any type of leather that is suitably is much stronger than original would also be greatly appreciated.
You're gesturing to your leather armor, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's looking at this and he nods and says, "Yes, of course. We will do whatever we can. We will procure you the most the finest of studded leather vestments as soon as possible. I'm afraid this will take a bit of time. In the meanwhile, we have a few items procured during recovery missions, various inventions from gnomish tinkerers, and a number of traded goods, none of which have been cataloged, merely vetted against any evil energies. Please take a look through what we have here, and you may choose anything that you so desire." And he snaps his fingers, and out from the back, two other humans. They wheel some enormous carts, and on top of these carts, there's strewn what looks like 12 different items sitting in front of you. Included amongst these items, there are a pair of boots, a leather-bound tome, a white cloak, a small box, a very, very small, like a pocket-sized book, a very large stone helmet, a chest plate made of rope, a monocle, possibly. It's a lens of some sort. Two different-looking rods, one of which is all black with some sort of rough hide on the tips. The other is simply a 2-foot-long pole with runes inscribed all over it. And there are two more. There's also a very small block of wood with several blades protruding from it. You're really not sure what that could possibly be described as. And last, there is a pair of glasses sitting on like a pillow. What is there anything in particular that you guys are interested in that you take a look at?
Amere's interested in the little pocketbook.
Okay, so you pick up the pocketbook, and on the cover is embossed a small a poppet, like a voodoo doll almost. I guess in the context of Threshold, it would be a wug doll. And the cover is a deep red leather.
Am I standing next to him?
Sure, you can walk up with him. You're looking at the same book.
I'm like, appears to be of wug origin. I've read about it. I've read about the strange Moreish traditions of wug.
Do you open it?
Yes.
If you open it, you see a recipe of sorts that has various ingredients and incantations scrawled. It seems to be specific to one product. Do you guys want to give me like a nature or an arcana check to see what you know about that?
Amir, would you like me to read over that?
Oh, yes, sure. Go for it.
Nature is a 21.
Upon inspecting the contents of the book, you see the various ingredients and components of this product will result in. You said what was the number?
I had a 21.
You're not quite sure what the final product will be. You know that many of these ingredients are typically used in sort of necromantic capacities and possibly communication spells as well. You're not 100% sure though what this could possibly.
Octavius is going to say, I'm 100% sure that this is a spell to commune with any entity on any plane ever, regardless of their. He's just gonna start saying things like, regardless of what state of conscious or unconscious they're in. I could definitely make it on my first try.
There's a man standing in the back of the shop who walks forward after you've made this outrageous claim, raising his hand, and Amon, the guildmaster, puts a hand up to him and tells him, he sort of gestures for him to calm down, and like the man just sort of like backs up against the wall again, but he looks very irritated at this point.
Amir is going to walk over to the block of wood with a lot of metal things in it.
Okay. On closer inspection, the block of wood has it's got blades and all sorts of things protruding from it. It doesn't look like it could be used as a weapon, more like some sort of tool.
Can you pick it up?
Yes, you can pick it up. It's not like a ball of knives. It's purpose built for crafting something. It looks like.
What's a curious weapon? No.
I don't believe it's a weapon.
I must have this. This is.
Do you want to give me an investigation check to see if you know a little bit more about it?
Oh, it's 2.
No, you don't. You think it's a weapon, actually.
Yes.
Amir, stop swinging that about.
What a wonderful weapon.
Oh, that's
this
great.
will definitely help in our adventures.
Anything else?
You almost got me with one of those blades. Octavius is gonna walk over to the big book.
Okay.
And just what does he see on the cover?
It's not big. It's moderately sized. It's definitely smaller than your shield, your Brook shields. It's
just as a clarifying note, the shield's about the size of 4 PHBs. That's
no, it's a
size.
tower shield. It's a book that is the size of a man.
I'm not hiding behind a book the size of a dragonborn.
So this moderately sized leather-bound tome it seems to be very ornate. The corners are capped with like golden corner book cap things. Is there a word for those?
There is. I forget what it's like, gilding or banding.
Frustrums. It's not right.
That's not it.
Yeah, it is. It is. No, it's not. There's a leather strap that you can use to like bound this thing shut. The cover has a large inlaid silver medallion in the center. In the middle of this medallion is an engraving of a man with his head bowed. Do you open it?
Yeah, I whip it open right to like the middle if I can.
The pages are penned in a very bright, crackling blue ink.
Can I read it at all? Does it look like?
Give me an intelligence check. You're pretty dumb. I was joking. You can. Read.
I got a low.
It's written
is it in
Nodish.
Common or Nodish? It's in Nodish.
I was making fun of you. Relax. You can read.
I didn't know if it was scrawled in a text I've never seen. Is what I was saying.
Oh, okay. No, it's written in Nodish. The book seems to be full of. It's difficult to understand. You are certainly not used to what it is describing. Give me an Arcana check to see if you maybe can interpret some of what's going on.
It's a low roll.
Okay.
It's 10.
10? You know that though these are not incantations or spells in the traditional sense where you would read them and they would do something, you discern that if you were to study this book and its contents, memorizing it and committing it to your mind, it would certainly give you advantages and bonuses to perhaps your awareness, your perception, other such things. There's definitely more powerful magic contained within the book too, but you're not really sure what it is at this point with that low roll.
So
You'd have to study
can I put
further.
that in my bag right now?
Yep.
So
they're not like gonna step in and stop you guys from fiddling with any of this stuff. They put it all out there for you.
I pocket the book and I walk over and I put the glasses that are on the pillow on my face.
The glasses? Oh, you put the glasses on.
The spectacles.
Oh boy!
So I'm moving.
I wasn't expecting that.
Okay.
The king is actually going to step forward at this point, and then he'll pause. He will pause and stop, but he looks very nervous that you've put these on. He keeps looking at Amere, and then back to you. But then he sort of steps back and moves out of the way. You put them on, and they function as normal glasses. They don't distort your vision in any way.
And I'm just looking at my own hands. Nothing. Like I'm moving my hands in front of them.
No, nothing.
Nothing. So I just take them off and I put those in my backpack too.
Okay. Do you just throw them in your backpack?
Yeah.
At this point, they are going to step forward and pull those away from you, and put those back on the pillow and say, "We will, if you so desire to take these with you, we will provide you with a container. These are extremely valuable." He looks. The king is saying all this, and he looks at Amere and says, He thinks for a moment, and he actually just picks up the glasses and shows you the frames, and on the temple of these the frames engraved in the wood, there is a 6-pointed circle. Amere, I need you to roll at advantage a history check.
Oh, nice. That is a 21.
Okay. You know that these glasses belong to, well, they're a product of, I suppose they don't really belong to, but they're an exclusive product of the Bardic College of Valor, of which you are from, I think, yes?
Yes.
You know that the 6-point circle is a more secretive subgroup within the College of Valor. They are devoted to fighting the evils of the world, and that these are likely one of the powerful weapons that the the bards use in their efforts against evil.
Octavius is going to say, Amere, you should take those glasses. I saw nothing special about them. In kind of a condescending way.
The king actually looks very pleased that you've said this.
Amere is
do either of you want to make an insight check to see like what's going on there a little bit?
Yeah,
clearly
detect
stumbled
motive or
across
whatever.
something
Octavius
bizarre.
is just...
Yeah, I made a 19
Yeah,
insight.
he's sort of... The king was hoping that these would sort of slide in unnoticed. They clearly knew who the two of you were before you came, knowing that you were you are a bard of the Valor College. Is it a college? Whatever.
It's a college in the sense of a category, like,
right?
You know, like
Yeah. It's not like a place. I suppose there are places, but yeah, this is. He's trying to sneak this in there, unnoticed by other people, maybe.
Then Amir's going to say, would it be all right if I took these?
The king says, yes, you should study those well, in a sort of pointed speech. Are you looking at anything else on the tables here?
No,
yeah.
That's all Amir's interested in.
All right.
I want to look at the two rods
Okay.
and the cloak. Those are the...
Okay. The cloak, let's do that first. So it is a white cloak.
and he wants to Batman it, like pick it up and do like a very unnecessary like swirl and try to like put it on.
Amir's going to interject and he's going to say, "Oh, how heroic! You must have this cloak. It looks so good on you."
Truly, it's fit for a hero.
The cloak has eagle feathers sewn into the hems, like around the wrists and the bottom and the neck.
Amir, look at these cockatrice feathers. They're very rare.
Upon picking them up, upon picking it up, you feel that it's very light.
The cockatrice feathers must make it very light. I have to study it more.
What a fantastic image. I can see the bards singing of it now.
Okay, so then moving quickly to the two rods. The first one you pick up is the... What's up?
Can I pick up both, or is that going to be weird?
You would want to investigate one at a time. The other is fairly large.
The runes. I'm into the rune one.
Oh, okay. So you pick up the larger one. This is roughly 2 feet long, 2 inches in diameter. It's it's hefty, probably about 15 pounds or so.
He struggles a little bit. He thought he was gonna like whip it up, and then it's a little heavy, and you see him be like embarrassed and use his other hand like.
Yeah,
okay.
It's so it's covered in runes. It's hefty. You're struggling. Do you want to give me an Arcana check to see, or maybe some other roll?
Arcana's fine. It's 20.
So with a 20, you know that the runes inscribed on this thing are just full of transformation magic. That this thing has really impressive transformative powers. All of the runes are self-referential, though. They're not. You would not cast this at someone, but this rod will likely transform somehow.
Can I make it into a crown? Like I try to image a very elvish crown.
Okay. So in your head, you picture. You're thinking of this beautiful crown.
Yeah, like, and it's got like traditional. It would clearly be like king of all elves.
The rod sort of transforms upon seeing this image into what looks like some sort of rudimentary metal forming hammer.
Like, that's not what I expected.
Amir is going to think that Octavius has done this, and is like, "My word! What a great use of magic! You have clearly grown as a wizard."
I'm not a wizard. I'm a cleric. We've been over this.
Well, I feel like wizard is just like a generic term for someone who uses magic. There should be a better term for it. Magic user. Something.
I'm not an arcane art.
So are you looking at this other bar now? This other rod?
Is this staying a hammer?
No. Do you lose that image of?
Yeah.
Immediately turns back into the rod.
I'm like, I must have activated it wrong. I'll definitely get better at that. And I want to take that one with me, but I don't want to carry it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna Amere, could you hold on to this for me? And I'm gonna hand it to him since it's like 15 pounds.
Okay.
All right.
You move on to the last rod now?
Yeah, and then I pick up the last rod, which had like hide on it, you said?
Mm-hmm. It's a black steel rod. It's roughly a foot long. Much lighter than the other thing. Maybe 6 or 7 pounds. The tips are sort of... It's very bizarre. It's almost as if they've been fused on there. It's some sort of animal hide. Give me a nature check if you want to try to identify what type of hide.
24.
You know it's dragon hide.
Oh, I'm really interested then. I'm like, oh, wow. Dragon hide. I definitely need this.
Also, as you pick it up being a cleric, you feel divine magic. Just super duper imbued in this thing.
I'm so interested in that because just Octavius, he likes the idea of creating divine artifacts. So the fact that he's witnessing one right now is just, yeah.
Great.
He's most interested in that.
All right, so you're leaving behind the monocle, the rope breastplate, the stone helmet, and the cloth boots.
And there was a tiny box.
Oh, and the box, yes.
He kind of eyes the box as he leaves, but he's too taken with this.
The box is
rod.
open.
Oh.
Inside there's like fabric if you look at it.
Nah, he's too into this rod now. He's lost all interest in the table.
Okay. We can talk about what the other things are that are just never going to be used in this adventure afterwards. You leave the Sandstone Guild, and the king escorts you out and says, "Most wonderful. We're so thankful for your help. Please rest, repose for the evening, and join me tomorrow for a small dinner to demonstrate our gratitude that you are here to aid us." Do you accept this invitation?
Yes.
You going to go?
Yes. I say, yes, if you will grace us with your attendance, we will grace you with ours.
He looks very pleased and gestures to Aman to come out and help you find lodging for the night, who does so. He walks out and says to you, "Yes, we have suitable arrangements for your lodging if you should like to head there now. Would that be amenable to you?"
Yeah, I'm ready to...
Yeah.
He takes you to a building next to the guild hall. It's sort of like an inn, but it's very nondescript. There aren't really. It's not advertising itself. It looks like it's a private establishment that the guild keeps on retainer or something. You walk in and he goes to the back and returns with a pair of keys, hands them to you, and gestures to a staircase on the side, and then leaves promptly. Written on your keys are numbers 1 and 2.
Okay.
Are you going to turn in for the night?
Yeah, I'm just going to turn to Amere and say, I'm just going to do some of my clerical orisons, and then I will sleep. So I will leave you here, Amere, and I go to room 2.
Okay. Are you guys doing anything? Well, I guess, Amere, what are you doing?
Yeah, what time is it?
It's very late at this point. I know it was noon last time, but looking over those artifacts and whatnot has taken up a very good part of the day. It wasn't nearly as quickly as we did it just now. Learning about these things takes time, I imagine.
Amir is going to go to his room then, and he's just going to try and start playing with the wooden block with blades. He's going to, throw it at something, see if it works as a weapon.
Okay. So are you trying to, attune to this, or are you just playing with it?
He's just playing with it.
Okay. And is that the only thing that you do during your...
Yeah, and then he goes to sleep. Here? Yeah, then he'll go to sleep. He knows the glasses are important, but he's too fascinated.
Okay. And what are you doing, Octavius?
Octavius retires to his room with it's a normal nightly practice of his what you would call prayer in other religions, and he calls like devotion.
Okay.
He's studying lore, and he's committing it to memory. His god is Pyrrho, so a god of knowledge and ancestry. So he's just poring over some books and writing it down and committing it all to memory, and that's kind of how they pray.
Okay. Are you doing anything with your artifacts? The 14 that you took?
I think I ended up with 4.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's my count.
I got a tome, a cloak, and 2 rods. Yeah.
You also have a tiny book.
I thought he got the tiny book.
I did not
Amere
take the tiny book.
Oh, then I have it, but I was going to give it to Amere anyway.
Okay, it's in your bag. You'll hand it off to him in the morning. Are you doing anything with the other 4 things?
I probably lay them out in and I'm recording things about them as part of, that's my prayer for tonight.
All right. Mechanically, you're only going to be able to attune to one of them.
Oh. Yeah, sure, then if you want normal attunement to the dragon rod is what I would spend the most time with.
Okay. Given that it has attracted your interest more than the other things, you spend more time poring over this thing, and you learn that. Well, give me some rolls here, because you might be able to use this thing, but you may not know what it's about. You're praying to your god, so you can have some advantage on this. The whole interaction should be, I think, one that you're particularly good at. So give me an Arcana check and a Religion check. Both
you want advantage on both?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Arcana is 24. And Religion, not too good. 17. Wow.
Both are good enough. I'm just going to tell you everything about this thing out of character. In character, your god is probably slowly revealing to you information about this, and you are sort of intrinsically understanding what this is. This is a rod of divine favor. The story goes that when the 4 great Sphinx gods sprung from the body of Tiamat, they bound each other to an accord of balance, agreeing upon equality and recognizing that each of their domains should remain sacred to their own rule, I guess. The 4 Sphinxes being the air, earth, water, and fire. They scrawled this accord across the body of Tiamat as it fell dead at the feet of Tantarus. And a single scale fell to the world and was later found by the earliest priests of the strip, and they crafted it along with steel into this great rod. It weighs 7 to 8 pounds, we said, and if you want it to function properly, you are certain that you would have to get it blessed by the 4 gods of the Syraxian pantheon, being the 4 great sphinxes.
I see. Oh, he's excited by that. He's like, oh, what a great adventure.
Once you have those blessings, it will allow you to seek favors from deities and great creatures in both the heavenly and infernal pantheons of all creation, both inside and outside of the Syraxian pantheon.
Okay. And then he's just going to say, thank you, Pyrrho, for granting me knowledge. And then he's going to, when he goes to bed, he kind of pretends that he trances and sleeps a little sitting up. He's in his head, he just trances really slowly.
Okay. Are you actually sleeping, or does he actually try and stay awake?
No, he sleeps, but he basically sleeps propped up.
Upright?
Yeah. And he's learned to do that.
With his eyes open?
No, he sleeps, but he's like, yeah.
Well, you can sleep with your eyes open. It's just really weird and creepy.
No, it definitely doesn't do that. It's
Okay.
It's anyone else would be like, why are you sleeping sitting up?
This
And
guy's
he'd be
really
like,
weird.
This is how the people do it. We trance.
Every once in a
you
while.
It should be
the
clear
night.
that he's never known an elf for a long. Like he doesn't know that much about elven culture in practice. He
Okay.
only has read about it, so he has some delusions.
The pair of you sleep through the night uneventfully. You wake the next morning. Are you doing anything of note during the day or simply exploring the city?
Unless the Sandstone Guild has called us very specifically, I don't know if they want to send us off somewhere right now.
It seems that they are working
waiting
in
for
tandem
dinner.
with the king, so it would probably be after the dinner.
Okay, yeah, so we're probably just exploring the city. I think that would be more... I think Octavius is kind of just along for the ride at this point.
As Amere walks out of his room, he says, I think I still have your staff. And he takes out the staff with the glyphs on it.
And Octavius is going to say, Amere, you need to be the heroic bearer of the staff in this adventure. This is how it will go down in the histories.
And Amir says under his breath, he obviously excited, he says, heroic bearer of the staff.
That is your title.
Oh, man. Great. Are you looking for anything in particular in the city, or just spending a day enjoying the music and the ambiance of Kuru?
Amir tries to play music with the people.
People give you money. They're super excited. Roll a performance check. We'll see how much money they give you.
20.
Okay, you gain like 10 gold. They love music here, super a lot. They give you food, drinks. They seem to be regarding what you are doing as paying them money. It's very bizarre. They love it, though. They eat it up.
What a fantastic town.
As you're playing, the music in the air begins to harmonize with you as well.
When that happens, Octavius gets like really interested and is like trying to figure out why that's happening again.
Arcana check?
21.
You know that the music is some sort of abjuration magic, in fact. Anything else y'all are doing during the day?
I'm kind of just begrudgingly following Amir around.
Yeah?
Like,
I figured you'd like break off and go and look at your stuff.
I'm acting begrudgingly, but I really want to follow Amir. I'm acting really annoyed, like, he's playing his music again.
And like
But
you secretly,
really, I don't
like,
have anything
snapping your
else.
finger, like covertly,
Yeah.
like
My foot's a little tapping. I'm like kind of into it, but don't want to appear like Amir is leading the way.
you realize this, and then you look around like someone who's just slipped on a bit of ice, and like,
Yeah.
oh, didn't even see that. I'm good. Yes.
Abjuration. That's definitely. I'm studying the abjuration.
Okay. So the day comes and goes, and when it is time for you to go to the palace, a gnome squire comes, retrieves you from the city, and leads you towards the large castle structure in the back of the city. Upon entering it, you see a number of things. There's an enormous courtyard with like an amphitheater almost. There's also a large tower structure, similar. It looks like it contains a lot of rooms and other such things. You see that, yeah. There's a sign. There's a sign that says that it's the Turin Academy of Magic. And the third thing is a modest castle that's built right into the rock of the mountains. The squire leads you to that building and deposits you in a very it's beautiful and well decorated and very nice, but it's not lavish or extravagant. It's modest for a king's dining room.
Amir, did you see that great auditorium, amphitheater-like room?
Oh, yes.
after we save this entire city, you will play the song of our adventures there.
It will be an honor.
As you are discussing your plans for greatness, the king walks out. There are other guests scattered around the room having their own conversations. Are you talking to any of them during this, learning who they are, or more interested in your own conversation?
I would introduce us, but it would be about me and Amere.
Well, if you introduce yourself, they introduce themselves. You maybe don't get into a lot of who they are, what they do, but you know that there are the guildmaster Amon is there. There are several other guildmasters from different guilds around the city. Some of the professors from the Turin Academy. At this point, the king walks out and gestures for everyone to join him at the table, and everyone sits down, and they bring out the first course, and many thanks are given around, and the conversation is lively and interesting. At this point, I want to cut away from the action. We never really sort of described very well Amere and Octavius, and I'd like to do that right now that we've sort of given you some of your gear that you're going to end up with, and you're a little more established as the adventurers that we're going to be following for the next foreseeable future. So, Octavius, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So Octavius is a very tall, probably around like 6'3" or 6'4", a spindly human, but he takes a lot of care and delusionary care of himself to try and make him appear half elf or even full elf. So he's always meticulously shaven, and
I really hope that at some point he's tried in his life to invent a device that will stretch him to make him taller.
He's done stuff like that, or he's been like pinching his ear for like a whole night while looking in a mirror. Like, I know I can see the point in there. It's definitely diluted from some sort of ancestry, but definitely pure elf line. And he's usually wearing like a longer coat. He's a little bit of ragtag after traveling all the way up to Kuru, but has his new nice white cloak on. And he has what looks like a key ring almost of books on his belt, like a big ring of books.
Oh,
on his belt. And then
books
he carries,
are heavy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a heavy like belt pouch.
Okay,
it's fastened, but that's most of his gear. He has a smaller bag with also mostly like smaller books. Okay. These aren't like big tomes, the books on his. I mean, it would be like a smaller set of scrolls or...
Are you sure that his goal is to become an elf and not to become some sort of book construct device? I am a book monster.
This is how, like, he's really into his practicing of faith with Puro. And the recording of knowledge and passing on of knowledge is the primary way you do that.
Okay.
So that's why just recording and reading is basically his worship.
So he's a nerd. So
he's a big nerd. So he's got his buckler, which actually he stole the book from the college. And
is this the book that you stole?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
He stole it, got caught, and then basically they wanted him to have it anyway, but he thinks he like got away with it.
You are Ted from How I Met Your Mother with the blue horn.
Yeah. So they were like, he stole it, and then they were like, well, he took the book, but it's the tomb of Pyrrho, and he's obviously attuned to it, so they were like, let's let him have it. And he's like, they don't know I took it.
Suckers.
So he's got that buckler about the size of 4 PHBs, and yeah. A thin, wiry nerd.
Amere, how do you round out our very tough and ragtag team of rowdy adventurers here?
Amere, over the years, has come to adore Octavius. He thinks of him as a hero, and anything that he does has to be the right way to do it.
I'm sure this is all bolstered by Octavius's boastful nature.
Octavius also thinks he's a hero.
Oh man, great.
Amere is dressed in mostly leather with his rebec on his back.
Is this an electric Rebecca? Because he sounds pretty fucking metal right now. Anyway.
It's a rebec. It's surprisingly hardier than a normal rebec. Maybe it's got like metal plating on the bottom.
I'm going to say Octavius has tinkered with it on more than one occasion and told Amere, like, this is now the greatest battle rebec that has ever been made. And really, he just kind of reinforced it a tiny bit. It has a special spell of reinforcement on it.
It doesn't.
No.
That's great.
From a listener standpoint, Amere would probably be he'd be likely to go along with anything. He's pretty dumb in that point. He's pretty gullible most of all, but
happy-go-lucky guy.
He wields a long sword, but other than that, he just has like his rebec and a backpack.
Are bards trained in martial weapons?
I believe so.
He might be because of the valor stuff.
They're only trained in simple weapons, hand crossbows, long swords, rapiers, and short swords.
So you gave the long sword.
Okay. That's cool. Great. So the two of you are total badass nerds.
And an important thing is, Amere, like, Octavius is very condescending to Amere, but in his, like, heart of hearts, he knows Amere is just as skilled or even more skilled with magic.
Amere does not believe this.
Oh, so there's this sort of, like, amazing inferiority complex.
Yeah,
that
because,
you
like,
constantly have to buff yourself
Yeah,
up?
so, like, I'm very
it.
boasting, but, like, if you've seen, like, Liam's tiny hat, like, that's a really impressive spell. And, like, stuff like that. Like, Amere constantly saves their ass, and Octavius takes credit for it.
And Amere completely believes him. He's like, oh, yes. Without him, I never would have gotten this far.
I bring out the best in you. But Amere...
should be some fantastic hijinks between the pair of you. Let's return back to the dinner. You're sort of wrapping up a dessert at this point. It's fantastic food. All of it is very different and unique from what you have experienced elsewhere on the strip. Are you eating all of it, or are you picky eaters, either of you?
I'm a fairly picky eater. I have a question. Is it a round table, or is it like a long table, a long rectangle?
A traditional long rectangle.
Could I have sat right next to the head of the table, like that seat?
You guys are guests of honor. I'm going to say you're actually on the opposite side of the king and his family, just because, like, I feel like the heads of the table are probably the prominent positions. You know what I mean?
Okay, so I am at the head of the table, because if I wasn't, I was going to try to scooch my way over there.
Okay, no, the two of you are at the head of the opposite, one of the heads of the table, opposite of the king and his queen. Everyone else is sort of scattered on the sides.
Instead of eating...
I forgot to mention, aside from the guildmasters and professors and whatnot, when the king walked in, he also walked in with his queen and their 3 children.
And they're all gnomes?
They are all gnomes, which is very bizarre for the strip. We'll probably get into that a little more later, explaining the situation, possibly learning about it as we explore more of Kuru here. Yeah. So dessert's finishing up, and you're picky, kind of sort of like fiddling with your food,
Octavius
maybe.
is actually like explaining the history of everything on the plate to whoever's around him instead of eating, and it is like boring.
Okay.
Like if he doesn't know it, he's just making it up. Like, oh yes, this is a dessert obviously made in the vast regions of Arrow, in their like he's just saying random stuff.
The people of Kuru look at you like you're an absolute idiot. They know that it's all from Kuru. It's all native to this place.
So, well, maybe he's hitting some. Maybe he's like, oh yes, this is definitely I've read about this. No, he wouldn't know. So he's trying to like make really what he thinks is the most interesting conversation ever.
Yeah, I love it. It goes along with Octavius, who he is. As you're finishing up, the king stands and raises a glass to the two of you and prepares to give a toast. He clears his throat, and he says out loud, with a glass raised to the pair of you, "Thank you so much for coming. We truly appreciate it. We are in dire need of your assistance." He goes on, just very, very gracious and grateful that you're here. And in the middle of, before he raises and gives the here, he's interrupted by a very loud cough, a very dry, loud cough. It's extremely loud. It's very powerful, and it's coming from one of the princes that's sitting next to him, who is clutching at his throat and looking very concernedly around. And at this point, the king drops his glass and rushes to his son and says, "No, not you, Terrace. How is this possible? Ra, please, High Priest Ra, please come and look at my boy." And the silent man from your conversation with the healers rushes over to the young. Well, I guess he's not young. That is a bit of a misnomer. He's young for a gnome. He is 200 years old. So this is like an adult male, but I guess gnome lifespans are a little bit bizarre. So the high priest rushes over to him and gives him sort of like a quick examination, and he says, "Yes, I'm afraid it's the desert scale. Bring him to the temple. We will do what we can there." He turns to the pair of you, the high priest and the king, and they say, "This is why we've brought you here. There are 30 or so people locked away in the temple, dealing with this ailment. It starts with the dry throat, with a powerful cough, and then their skin begins to harden, and they fall unconscious. We've not been able to do anything with our medicines." At this point, the high priest sort of interrupts and looks to you and says, "There is nothing that we have been able to do for them. I have heard of this disease, but only in reference to a temple out in the desert. I do not understand much about this, but if you go to this temple, I am certain you will be able to find answers for us." And with that, he sort of marks on a map for you the location of a dungeon and indicates that the pair of you should set off immediately.
Yeah, I would.
We are going to end the episode there, and we'll join back next time as you venture across the Nullway to this desert temple in hopes of finding something to help these people. Questions, comments, concerns?
No, I'm really glad about that we have set characters now, and we know exactly how they react to one another.
Yeah, it's good. I think it's going to be beneficial to sort of characterizing you guys a little bit further.
I like our sweet gear. The city's really cool.
Yeah, I got money for playing stuff. Yeah, that was awesome.
A lot of money.
We made a lot of money.
Oh, also I said gold, but it's like per plonium here. I don't have the exchange rates though, so we will fix that as soon as I get those figured out, because I'm not very good as a DM.
So yeah, I'm excited for the dungeon.
I thought we would get to it, but I guess I didn't. I assumed that the items would not take nearly as long as they did, but I wanted to give you guys some interesting things. I'm kind of bummed that you didn't take Adriel's boots. Those are I think one of my favorite items that I've ever used.
Well, throw them in there.
They will come back. They're too good not to.
Other than that, it's Town Time was a cool episode. I'm excited to be off for the adventure, and we'll pick up there next week.
Should be exciting. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure that you go and check out all of our interwebs stuffs, StudioLT3.com. Check us out there. We're on iTunes. We're on Stitcher. If you want to interact with us, hit us up on social media. Twitter is @StudioLT3. Hit us up. We'd love to talk with you. Send us an email, contact@StudioLT3.com. What's the Facebook? Facebook.com/StudioLT3. Yeah, talk to us there. We
also have
we love you guys.
We're on the D&D subreddit.
That's a good one too.
Yeah. So, or not D&D Threshold.
D&D Threshold.
.com/r D&D Threshold. So if you start a thread there, we'll see it. We will respond to it.
My handle is you dice to meet you, and no one said that it's a great name, and I'm very sad.
You're very proud of it.
I'm so proud of it.
My handle's still Moonlight Crest, so
yeah, it's confusing. We'll see what happens.
But just a housekeeping announcement: we are probably almost definitely changing podcast providers.
Oh yes, this is important.
So if there might be some changes to the iTunes and Stitchers, there's definitely going to be a change to the RSS feed. Yeah. If that matters for your subscription purposes, just be aware of that.
We're going to try to make sure that iTunes does it automatically, but there might be some hiccups. If you suddenly aren't getting weekly updates, make sure you go to StudioLT3.com, check it out. We will have information and updates there available for you to make sure that everything stays, automatic.
Of course, we'll put a post on Twitter, Facebook, Reddit. We're trying to announce it and make it go as smoothly as possible, just letting you know that within the next couple weeks it will be changing providers. But that's all. That's everything I have. This is all made possible by the D6 Mafia creating the World Threshold. So if you want to see their stuff, it's youtube.com/the D6 Mafia. Yep.
Go to d6mafia.com to check out other stuff by them. Anything else, either of you?
That's everything.
That's everything.
I think that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you all very much for listening, and we will see you next week.
May shade and happiness guide you, or whatever that was.
You ruined it.